What's up, guys? Welcome back to True Sound Studios. I'm Weezna. Today, this is a really exciting video for me, and I hope you guys like this because what I did was I took my brand new RME BabyFace Pro FS interface, my laptop, and my drum kit, and I actually left the studio and went to 4 different locations and recorded some drum samples. So this is the behind the scenes look at this entire recording process. All right, guys, so getting started here, this is the first location. This is the beautiful waterfront at Lake Erie. So this is my entire setup. This is all the stuff I brought with on that little cart. We've got the RME BabyFace Pro all set up next to the laptop, and now recording some kick drum. And then getting to snare, using a bunch of different types of dampers to just really change the sound of the snare drum to make sure that, really there's a large variation between all the different snare sounds. This was so cool. So we just brought a snare drum, one mic into this massive concrete structure and recorded just snare drum in here. Now, I am going to go back and do full IRs. This was kind of a last minute thing that we kind of stumbled upon. But check out what this sounds like. This is just the camera audio. So now here are some drum samples from the waterfront. All right, so we just got done recording and we're packing up, but Also, who came with me is a good friend of about 15 years. This is Matt Buscarino, 2-time Grammy-nominated guitarist, and we recorded guitar using the BabyFace Pro right here at the waterfront. Plugged the cable in right from the guitar and went right into the instrument inputs on the BabyFace. So take a listen to what it sounds like totally raw and then fully processed. Okay, so the raw guitar up top, no processing at all. The bottom is only the Neural DSP Corey Wong. So I have it in, let's see here. Didn't really do too much with that. Just a teeny bit of EQ. It's mainly just the effects. We got the delay and like the big washy reverb, and then like this 80s chorus. That's really given us the finished guitar sound. And then there's one EQ that I threw in here. I boosted some like 2.6K by about 1.7 dB. So really this tone really tells you that this works so nice. The DI sounds so great that I only had to really just add a little bit of effects here and then one very simple EQ. So now we are in my backyard, and here I'm recording once again more of the drums. Here's some of the mics that I used. So I used my little sub-kick microphone that I had built and the Audix D6, which actually sounds really fantastic, especially with the 1969 Ludwig kick drum that you see there, single head. Now, of course, I wanted to use the kick drum beater like in a standard kick drum pedal, but I actually found by using a felt head and kind of just hitting it also made a really nice drum sound. And then recording some actual snare drum, using all sorts of different types of dampeners to change the tone of the snare. And here I'm using a 57 and a Beta 98. So now take a listen to some of the drum samples that I got from recording in my backyard. All right, so because I'm recording outside, obviously the environment really turns into a major factor. You know, there were days, especially when I started doing this, it was still pretty cold out. I mean, there was like 3 days it snowed. So then, you know, I had to deal with wind. Obviously, it was a really tough thing to record anything in, especially like, you know, cymbals where you hit the cymbal and you want it to decay for 20 seconds. Good luck. That was really tough. So some of the things I did have to come back to the studio and re-record. So things like that, I definitely came back and recorded some of that here. But then just, you know, cars and trucks and just trees moving or whatever, you know, I had to deal with all that. And unfortunately, it did ruin some of the recordings. But fortunately, I did so many samples that, you know, there was more than enough to deal with. So another place that I recorded in was my basement. Now, when me and my wife finished this entire space, we did it with the intention that I could record down here. So we did wood on the ceilings and then wood on the walls and left it really wide open so that I could come down here and be able to record. Go on, you have to go upstairs. Buddy. Shh. Now this will be a full video, but I'm going to show you guys really quickly how I added natural room ambience to these super dead dry drums that I've recorded at all these locations. So really quickly, here's some really dry snare sounds. And then I re-roomed them in my garage and I got this. And then blend the dry and the re-room together and you get this. So once again, look for that full video that is coming up soon. So my garage turned into one of the places I've recorded drums, once again, because of temperature and wind. You know, I'd set a day and time to go do this, and if it wasn't nice out, I just recorded in my garage, which actually kind of ended up being a really great place. You guys listen to some of the claps that I did in there. Like, it's a really big, spacious sound. Because of all the cabinetry and things that are in there, kind of really broke it up nicely, though it's a big drywall box. But I actually really ended up liking the sound of the drums, so check this out. And then a quick peek around the kick drum. These are the 2 microphones I was using for the kick drum sound. And then this large condenser microphone was the room mic. Okay, and now for some of the garage samples. Here's the kick drum. And then some claps. Got some like rim clicks. And some cymbals. So another reason I wanted to make this video is also because, you know, after making all these videos and all this content, all based around RME, I was really hoping to get their attention. I really, you know, it was one of those companies I've always wanted to work with. Fortunately, it worked. And we came to an arrangement where they got all of these drum samples that I made at these 4 locations. If you guys end up getting an RME product and it lists exactly on the website which products that is, you will actually get all 4 of these drum packs with all the samples that I've recorded absolutely for free for buying, you know, a specific range of RME products. Now, RME has a ton of stuff, so it's not everything. There is a list on their website. Recently, they just created a page on the RME website where you guys can actually check out a little bit more details about it. But for me, this is just so cool to be able to work with, you know, in my eyes, the great RME. And now I've started this relationship with them, and, you know, it's just super exciting for me. Okay, so really quick, I just want to show you guys this cart that I end up using to haul around all my drums. So this is actually like a little garden cart wagon type thing, but you know, it kind of worked out. I ended up pulling it with my electric skateboard, kind of strapped all the drums on there, and just, it was a way to just kind of quickly move these around. And in some of the places that I went and recorded, it wasn't easy to get to, so using the skateboard was definitely much more manageable. The portability of the BabyFace, and something I've always wanted to do, was to go out, leave the studio, and record drums in other parts of my city. And I just thought it was a really cool, fun thing for me. You know, this is something I've been wanting to do. I have some other like more starter interfaces that I could have done this with, but so if I was going to do this, I just wanted it to be with some really, really good gear / interface, and I just didn't want to risk it with the other stuff, which is why it was super exciting to do it with the BabyFace. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you guys want to learn some more about this, there is a link to the RME page, which will take you to the highlighted drum sample part of this. Also, if you go to the RME page, it'll also tell you what interfaces are included with this drum sample bundle. Also, check out the True Sound Studios website. I'm going to start posting free samples of things that I've recorded that I didn't use for the RME package. If you guys want to stay up to date with when those samples are going to come out, follow True Sound Studios on Instagram. So anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. Until the next video, I'll see you guys then.